Say your prayers.
And this was a moment when Carpenter realized she was having some sort of breakdown.
And everybody in the mine's gone insane.
Well, whatever used to live here, we woke it up.
Second time I saved your life.
Yeah, run a tab!
Before we get down to figuring out the nitty-gritty on what exact Ghosts of Mars released, reviews were so poor that I couldn't bring myself to seeing it and making my own opinion. 19 years later, I finally delved in with an open mind. I mean, it couldn't be that bad, could it? Well, I'll get to that in a moment. Set in 2176, Ghosts of Mars shows us a world where the red planet has been terraformed to reflect Earth's atmosphere due to overpopulation. While special spacesuits aren't needed, breathing apparatuses are at times. Through a series of flashbacks, and flashbacks within flashbacks, it opens with Natasha Henstridge's drug-addicted Lieutenant Melanie Ballard of the Mars Police Force giving a testimony on what happened during her team's disastrous mission to retrieve criminal James Desolation Williams, played here by Ice Cube. Other notable members of MPF include certified badass Pam Grier as Commander Helena Braddock, Clea Duvall as Officer Bashira Kincaid, and Jason Statham as Sergeant Jericho Butler. Well, the cast was certainly strong here. It was originally different. First, let's get to the character Desolation Williams. If his character traits and cool nickname sound familiar, that's because it has long been rumored Ghosts of Mars changed to Desolation. While there has been no confirmation on that, it's still worth noting. As for the character Melanie Ballard, the role was other names were suggested, like Michelle Yeoh. Upon reaching their destination to pick up the criminal, Ballard and her team find the area, which was inhabited by miners, has mostly been deserted. In another series of flashbacks, we find the miners found a secret doorway that was created by an earlier civilization. Once opened, it unleashed the ghosts of the ancient Martians and possesses the bodies of the workers, with its main antagonist bearing a striking resemblance to a ripped Marilyn Manson. Ballard assumes control once her leader is found beheaded, and now must fight to survive along with the help of their prisoner, Desolation. However, once the host is killed, the spirit finds another body to inhabit. Yet, for some reason, they continue killing these things, which doesn't bode well for our heroes. At one point, Ballard also becomes possessed, and just before she is taken out, Ice Cube feeds her drugs. Even though it's probably not Friday, she has a job and shit to do. The hallucinogenic drug, called Clear, immediately brings her back to normal and immune to any possessions. Clearly, normally, I stay away from spoiler territory as we reach the end, but for a film over 2 decades old that lets you know right off the bat what happened to the Mars Police Force, I'll get right to it. As it turns out, Desolation was innocent of his crimes, and the handful of the crew that are left end up hauling ass to the train. Even though the ancient civilization feels their planet has been invaded and are simply fighting for it, Ballard decides, quote, fuck their home, and takes her team back to the canyon to nuke the whole area by overloading the outpost's nuclear power plant. Upon getting the power plant ready to blow, their plan is interrupted by the Woodstock 99 crowd, and an all-out brawl ensues. Ballard and Desolation are now the only two left alive as they escape onto the train while the power plant explodes. Ballard then wakes up to Desolation handcuffing her to the bed to avoid being taken to the authorities. Back to the present. After Ballard finishes her testimony, she finds her city is under attack from the spirits she thought she had wiped out. Readying herself to fight once again, she is met with Desolation, who hands her a gun and delivers a very Ice Cube thing to say.
Tide is up. Time to stay alive.
So taking that into account, and then jumping on to an action film with a week before shooting with barely any training would certainly wear anyone out. If you look at the shot just after Ballard and Butler share a random and out-of-place kiss, she is noticeably crying, and this was a moment when Carpenter realized she was having some sort of breakdown. Once production resumed, everything seemed to be smooth sailing until it wrapped principal photography on October 31st. Quite the fitting day for him to wrap, I must say. The film had a lot of things going for it. A killer cast, great practical effects by the legendary KNB team, musicians to contribute to the more action set pieces. Every day on set, Carpenter would remind cast and crew that the film was, quote, the biggest piece of shit he's ever made to make the mood lighter on set. His intention was to make a film that was not to be taken seriously, akin to action films of the 80s. To that end, I feel it succeeded with cheeseball dialogue and over-the-top action. The film could be summed up as a Volume 2 greatest hits compilation of his career. One that has some good stuff on there, but not good enough to be on Volume 1. He knew exactly what movie he was making, which feels like a giant middle finger to Hollywood. Very on brand for him. However, as for Ghosts of Mars, look, this film is unanimously known as a dud all around. And like I said before, it was the reason why I avoided it for so many years. But I'm glad to have finally seen it. Well, it's indeed messy, with its odd structure, overuse of cross dissolves, and side swipes that would admit I got what he was going for, and I had a hell of a time with it. It's definitely more entertaining than the other Red Planet films that came out at the time. So gather some friends together, crack open a few drinks, and just enjoy the ride, because in the end,
on the soaked streets of Blue Island. And my father, though a strong man, you know, I swear I saw him crying. Another generation gone has seen